Joining me now, Michael Hardaway, former communications director for Congressman Hakeem Jeffries, and Brendan Buck, MSNBC political analyst and former press secretary for Paul Ryan and John Boehner. Gentlemen, thanks for being here on a Saturday in the summer. Michael, we'll start with you. What's your take on ads like this, especially targeting what appears to be MAGA voters?
Well, it's brilliant for one reason. Those MAGA voters are never going to vote Democratic, but that's not the point. The idea is to make them disaffected so that they understand that they were betrayed by this president. And when the midterm elections come, they stay home, which they might have done anyway, since he's not at the top of the ticket. And as we know, many of those people are not actually Republicans. They're just guys who like Donald Trump. And so if we can help them understand that they have been lied to and betrayed by this president, they might just stay home, which is problematic for him, obviously, with Democrats taking the majority in the House and maybe the Senate. So that's the strategy there.
Brendan, Congressman Ro Khanna claims that the fight over the Epstein files can actually help Democrats take on Trump more effectively, saying it's just about trust in government and transparency. And then some strange bedfellows here. Republican Thomas Massie, who has allied himself with Ro Khanna now on this topic, is rallying some MAGA allies. So no matter how he tries to deflect here, is Trump just losing the narrative?
Yeah, and look, Ro Khanna may be able to put a sort of good face on it, but let's be clear, that and the ad that you just showed, this is just trolling, and I actually think it's good politics for Democrats. I don't fault them for it, but it's trolling. They understand that Republicans are eating themselves alive right now, and Democrats are there to help them out and do that. Ro Khanna is teaming up with a Republican to force a vote on this. I'm not sure that Ro Khanna cared too much about this for the 4 years when Joe Biden was president, but now that Republicans are fighting with each other, he's happy to bring this to the forefront. I get it. It's politics. It's probably going to work. It's still just a little, not necessarily dishonest, but you understand what his motives are.
I love the fact that you just put that so succinctly. They are trolling the Republicans on this one and trolling Donald Trump. That's as plain and simple as it gets. Michael, not all Democrats, though, are on board with this Epstein strategy. You had Axios reporting. Some say that they're just plain sick of talking about this, and they'd rather focus on things like Medicaid cuts and rising costs, the big, beautiful bill and what it could mean. What carries more weight with voters in your mind? Is it the Epstein thing, or is this obsession kind of running its course?
It's a fool's errand for any Democrat to think that you can only do one thing. Democrats can fight this war on two fronts. You can both make the president pay for the words that he used in terms of promising his voters that he would release these files. It's also interesting that he apparently is in those files. But on the other side, Democrats should make the president pay for this horrific economy we're in. You have rising prices. You have 17 million Americans about to lose health care. You've got 5 million Americans about to lose their food assistance, and the dollar is down 10%, which we've not seen in 50 years since we came off the gold standard. And so Democrats should have both of those conversations. The Epstein stuff doesn't get you a victory in the midterms, but it can help Republican voters understand they've been lied to. The economy message, the economic message, is what gets you the victory in the midterm elections.
Brendan, we're talking about like an arc of outrage from far left to far right here. Democrats are actually aligning themselves with MAGA conspiracy theorists on this issue. Could that actually be problematic for them? These are the very voices that Democrats for so many years were trying to discredit.
Well, I think at the end of the day, I think they hope to prove that Donald Trump was just lying to them on this, as Michael said. So I'm not too worried about this for them. But let's remember the context in which this is all happening. It was just a matter of weeks ago when Republicans passed and Donald Trump signed into law their biggest legislative accomplishment for this entire Congress. This is going to be all they have to show to voters. And instead of going out and talking about that and trying to sell it, which is, it was unpopular when they passed it, so they've got an uphill climb to begin with, they're talking about this instead. So these are lost, wasted weeks for Republicans who need to turn the message on that bill around, and they're not able to do that because they're, again, fighting with each other. So for Democrats, the longer they can keep this conversation going, the better off they are, and it's just a big loss for Republicans.
Okay, Michael, is there a danger in following MAGA down this rabbit hole, or is this, as you kind of have alluded to, this is a smart way to seize on the political headwinds, but is there a danger in this?
No, Democrats don't have to follow anyone down any hole. The reality is that this administration said that it had the information. Pam Bondi said, I have the list. Donald Trump said, I'm going to release the information. All Democrats have to do is do what they're doing with these ads, which is show people what they have said. We don't have to partner with anyone. We don't have to do anything outside of provide sunlight on what the administration has said about the Epstein stuff. I think anyone with basic common sense could say that something seems weird here. It doesn't take a conspiracy theorist to say that.
But at the root of all of this was brought up to the surface by conspiracy theorists that Democrats have tried to debunk for many years now. Wouldn't it be more prudent for them to focus on what they've said is a disastrous, big, beautiful bill?
Well, the problem is some of those conspiracy theorists are now actually in the U.S. government. And so it's not like Democrats are responding to random conspiracy theorists on YouTube. Those people work in the administration and in the Justice Department. And so they're actually government officials now, and that gives Democrats more leeway to address this particular issue.
Brendan, Politico reports a person close to the White House said that Trump is reportedly clearly furious over how all of this has gone. But another ally said they're the ones that open up this can of worms with Epstein conversation to begin with. So is this just an instance of the administration shooting itself in the foot?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they bought this trouble themselves. Pam Bondi brought down a bunch of conspiracy theorists to the White House and handed them a bunch of binders months ago, trying to feed enthusiasm about this. And whether or not, she understood what she was getting herself into or not, they thought at some point this benefited them, whether it fired up their voters, it motivated them to think, Donald Trump's going to come in and pull back the curtain on all of this. Well, obviously, that's not what's happening here. I feel no sympathy for them. To your point, no one should be aligning themselves with conspiracy theorists. And if someone has to pay a price here for doing that, I think that's great in the long term. Obviously, there's some real meaningful unanswered questions, and we shouldn't just blow past those. But if you're going to, go to bed with conspiracy theorists and it blows up in your face, I think that's probably a good thing long term.
And what's so surprising is the thought that Trump wouldn't show up in any way, shape, or form in these Epstein files, given his previous relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, though very distanced at this point. Michael, Trump is frantically trying to distract by any means necessary, digging into his usual bag of tricks, that litany of conspiracy theories, now trying to accuse President Obama of treason, among other things. But is this working, swapping one conspiracy theory to another?
No, it's like the dead cat strategy. You just keep throwing things on the table and hope it changes the conversation. None of this is serious. He's not a serious person, and none of these allegations are serious. What's interesting is that Tulsi Gabbard is the director of national intelligence. Her job is to oversee the FBI, the CIA, all the organizations that keep the West safe. She's behaving like Donald Trump's intern instead of doing the things that would actually keep us safe, like monitoring a failed state in Haiti that's a 9-minute flight away, like monitoring the Sahel in Africa that is seeing rising terrorism. That's what the director of national intelligence should be focused on. Instead, she's focused on these random conspiracy theories that Donald Trump has her drum up to change the conversation. So it's a problem not just because it's a stupid conversation and a lie, but it's a problem because it's a distraction from the stuff that actually matters.
Brendan, last word.
Yeah, look, Donald Trump's very good at motivating his voters. He knows how to push their buttons. So this stuff with Obama may work a little bit, but that assumes that the Jeffrey Epstein story is just one blip. But we know that's not the case. This has been something that has motivated people for years. They're not just going to let it go lightly, as you've seen with Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's invested a lot in this conspiracy. She's just not going to let it go. So, Donald Trump will get people, playing along a little bit. But I think it's wishful thinking to think this is going away before anything else kind of comes out in a meaningful way.
We will see come September when Congress is back in session if this is still on our minds. Michael Hardaway, Brendan Buck, thank you both so much.